Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Stephanie. This is the Let Me Introduce You series. As I said, this is the Let Me Introduce You series where I introduce you to authors that I absolutely love, authors that I have found and fell in love with, authors that I think that you guys should go check out. So without further ado, let me get into this one because it's going to be a good one. Let me introduce you to Tracey Livesay. Tracey, please introduce yourself to us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tracey Livesay, and I am the author of contemporary interracial romance. Hi, Steph.
Hi, it is so nice to see you face to face.
Yes.
So a little bit of a fact, we actually live really, really close to each other, and I think that is absolutely amazing. So before we get, I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. I must say, I'm just really, really excited. I have been trying to do this interview with you for quite some months, but I am super excited now because I'm jumping ahead of myself. But you have a new release coming out, and it's called American Royalty. And I just have to know. I have to know.
Okay.
I mean, we know that it's loosely based off of Meghan and Harry, but how inspired were you really? Like, what brought on this inspiration? What brought on this inspiration? We all love them, but
I do love them. I do root for them, and obviously, I am all sort of in their world. I am Team Sussex, whatever. It's a loose inspiration. So in other words, I think the idea that there's an American entertainer who marries a member of the British royal family puts everyone in the idea of Meghan and Harry. They were definitely an inspiration in terms of the idea for the series and how that all evolved. But once I started writing, it really is, Danny and Jameson's story. But the idea of, a Black woman being a part of that family and what would happen and what it could look like, Harry and Meghan definitely inspired that.
Now, did I hear you correctly? You said this is going to be a series? We're getting more books in this world?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is a series. The idea started as a series. When I pitched it to my editor, American Royalty was sort of the name of the series. And the idea really was how in America, celebrities have become our royals in terms of how we follow them through, news media, sort of they are in their own little insular world, and they tend to date each other. Like you'll turn around and this star is dating this athlete who's dating this model, who's dating this tech person. And it all seems like they know each other in some way, and the rest of us are sort of like mere mortals or just watching them from afar. And when Harry and Meghan got married and you watched sort of the procession of guests into their wedding, it seemed like that idea come to life. Like it was all of these like royals, yes, but then you saw all the celebrities, and all the celebrities were like married to people who were celebrities in their own right. And that seemed very interesting to me. And so I pitched that idea to my editor. And as I was giving her these examples of what the stories inside of that series could be, one of the things I mentioned was this idea of a rapper and a prince. And that came from the Harper Bazaar cover that Cardi B did when she's in that gorgeous red ball gown and she's running away from a castle, and there's like a Jimmy Choo shoe like over, kind of like winking. And so the idea of like a rapper and a prince came from that setup, and it just all sort of worked. And I thought, I had also pitched like a boy band guy and an athlete. I had pitched an actress and a tech person. So I had sort of given her different ideas of what stories could be in the series, and she immediately was like, rapper Prince, I want it, yes. And I was like, okay, great. And I was like in the middle of my girls trip series, and she was like, no, I want that next. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I have some work to do. And that's how it happened.
Well, as you brought that up, are
Yes.
you a independent, self-published, or are you completely traditional in
I
your writing?
I am 99.5% traditional.
Because I mean, you were like, I pitched this to here and I pitched that to here, and
Yes,
I was like, okay.
yeah, I'm mostly traditional. I have done a couple of anthologies that were self-published, and so I got my short stories back from those. And the intent is to put those out, but I can't find a way to fit it into the schedule. And I'm not complaining about that at all. That is a blessing. I will take it. So I'm not counting out that there is a time when I will be self-published and maybe even more, but right now it's mostly traditional.
Okay, so where was I going? I just lost my train of thought. Oh goodness, because I'm just so excited, right? I have so many questions running through my
We will
brain
get to it all.
as you're talking, and I'm just like, oh, I want to ask this, and I want to ask that, and I want to ask this. So writing,
Yes.
how did you get to it? How did you become a writer?
Professionally?
Yes.
So I guess I was a kid. Let me start here. I was a kid who always read. I was that, I've read ever since I can remember. Um, and I was that kid whose nose was always in a book.
Mhm.
And at some point I was introduced into romance at a very young age, and I was hooked. Like there was no other genre for me. I was like, this is my genre. This is I love, it's what I read most of. But I was a little, I was a smart Black girl. And smart Black girls don't become writers, right? Like your parents are like, you're graduating, you're going to college, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, like
Mhm.
that is the plan that was laid out for me. So it never occurred to me that being a published author was something that I could do. And so I followed the plan that was laid out for me. It was a very good plan. It led to me, meeting my husband and getting married. And so all of that was lovely. But I'm sure we'll get to that. All of that was lovely. And sort of the way things turned out, I ended up staying home with my children, which is something I never thought I would do. And about the time that my youngest was starting full day kindergarten, I was like, okay, I'm going back to work. I know this is a thing. I can go back to my legal career. But, during that time, sort of romance and the idea of writing it, like sort of got into me and wouldn't let go. And so I said to my husband, I can go back to my legal job. I'm more than willing and happy to do so. But I have this passion that, I didn't know was a real passion. And now I've learned that I could actually maybe make this a profession. So this seems like a really good time to try that. So can I have, like a couple years, let me see, what I can do about this. I'd really like to try to become a published author. And he was super supportive, and he said, yes, I got you. Go, do you. And
Mhm.
I did. And, and so I guess what are we, almost like 10 years later, here I am. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it took a few years to get published. But
Mhm.
that conversation we had was about in 2011. And so, yeah, here
That's
we,
amazing. That's awesome.
yeah,
So when you write your stories, because you have about 3 or 4 different series, correct? That are
yes,
currently out. When you're
yes.
writing those series and stories, where do you find your inspiration? Is it always like your American royalty, or that comes from pop culture, or do you do you build off of real life and your experiences?
Like, ideas come from everywhere. They just don't always come when I need them. And so, I have we all have notes app in our phone. And so when an idea comes to me, I will jot it down in the notes app. And when the time comes for me to start, pitching a story or thinking about a new series, I go back and I read through um, those ideas, and then something will just strike at you. Something will, um, just come to me, and so then I sort of go from there. Because I'm traditionally published, like the ideas I have um, aren't my own, in terms of I can't just say, oh, I'm going to write this. I do have to pitch my editor and say, this is what I'm thinking about, and get feedback on whether yes or no, or we'd like something else or something like that. But there are like 40 ideas in that notes app. So if one doesn't work, something else will. So like when I was pitching them the idea of a new series, I knew that I was going to finish the girls trip, and I just wanted to know what I was going to be doing after that. So that's why I sort of pitched her new ideas. I assumed I was going to be writing book 3 and book 4 girls trip before this new series. So I pitched the idea of the American royalty series, but I also sort of pitched this idea of a group of like friends who like joined this not like a book club, but like a travel club. And
Okay.
that they, sort of went on, different vacations and would come back and tell a group about it. And so that was like a series idea that she was not. She was like, I think we're, it's lovely. But
Too
one,
much is good. Let's move on to something new.
maybe some other day, but not today. So, that's how it worked. But most of my ideas, they just come from, I'm a big pop culture person. So it could come from watching a TV show or a movie and being like, ooh, that seems really interesting. What if or what if this? Or I mash two things together. So that's where they come from. And then I just jot them down and hope that one day I'll get to them or be able to mix them together to make a fun idea.
Do you find it a little bit easier for you to fulfill your process by having someone and having an agent and having that traditional sort of background to bounce ideas off of to make things come to fruition?
They're not really that involved in terms of bouncing idea. I mean, I guess that's probably we don't bounce ideas off each other too much. I do that mainly with my other author friends, but they are the ones who sort of say like, no, we don't like this idea. So that's helpful to me. So that means I'm not wasting time writing something that they're not interested in.
Mhm.
I do like that. I like the idea that before I put in a bunch of work on something, I know that this is something they want or don't want. And that is very important to me. Um, Authors have different processes. And there are some authors who are like, I'll write 50,000 words just to figure out where I'm going. And I just, no. No,
That is not your process.
That's not my process. If I'm writing 50,000 words, they are going in a book. I don't care how I'm making that happen. I can't just be writing 50,000 words just because. So I do like the idea of having that person who says, yes, this is the idea we want. This is what we're going for. That is really helpful to me. I like having a direction. I'm very sort of focused, goal oriented. Where am I going? There.
Right over there.
Yeah, let's go.
So, are you a pantser or a plotter?
I am a plotter. I am a total plotter. I do respect that everyone has their own process, and I have friends who are pantsers. I don't understand it, but that's fine. I don't have to do it that way.
Yep.
I do character sheets. I do plotting sheets. Before I start writing, I have I know where I'm going. And
Mm.
then, and that doesn't mean that while I'm writing, things don't happen. I mean, that's part of the magic of what we do. That's part of the magic of writing. And so there are times when I'm writing the draft and and things happen. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, that's great. And so what that leads to is when I finish sort of my rough first draft, which is very rough, no one ever sees it. By the time I'm finished that, I have a better idea of who my characters are and what my story is. And so then I will do another round of character
Mm.
worksheets. And I know,
Wow.
forever, and plotting worksheets with what I have learned and what I know now. And then I go back through the draft, and that's the draft that I send to my editor.
Wow. So it sounds like you do a lot of research when it comes to your characters and your storylines and the information that goes into your stories. Is that correct?
I do. I do. And I think about it a lot. And so there was a time because when I started, um, when I was first published, is when self-pub became huge. And
Right.
so you had a lot of authors who can write like 4 or 5 books a year. And I think traditional publishing was also trying to have their authors do the same thing because they're trying to keep up with this new demand.
Hmm.
And so, in theory, it sounds like you should be able to do that. So I would say to myself, well, I have to write 60,000 words. If I write 1,000 words a day, which is really doable, that's 2 months. And then I give myself another 2 months to edit. Surely
Right.
I can turn a book in 4 months. And one of my first contracts was under that crazy notion that I could write a book in 4 months. And I cannot.
We'll just say that I cannot.
And part of that is because I never took into account the idea that I spend a lot of time thinking about the book,
Mm.
the characters, and all that stuff before I even do the worksheets, before I even start writing. So that 4 months is like, yes, I could draft a book and give you revisions like in a 4 month period, but I need a good 2 to 3 months before to do all of that other stuff first. And it took me a long time to understand that that's my process, to understand that that's okay, and to understand that thinking about the book is still work. For me, if I wasn't sitting in front of the keyboard actually typing words, I wasn't doing work. And that was a big part of the problem too. And then it was realizing, no, this is your process. It includes a lot of thought, a lot of research, a lot of other reading. You ruminate, you do a whole bunch of stuff before you
Hmm.
even sit at your desk. And you have to respect that work, and that's part of your process. So you cannot give them a book every 4 months. That's just not it's not going to happen. And it took putting my family through some craziness. It took me I was hospitalized at one point.
Oh no.
Yeah, I had gotten this was like early on. I had gotten the stress. I was stressed, and that I guess tore my immune system down. And then I got this really deep ear infection that affected my vision.
Mm.
So like everything was like, I was like, I don't know what the hell this is, going on. And so it took like that type of stuff for me to realize you've got to figure out how to do this in a way that works for you and your family and your health. And so, yeah, that was a process, but I am here. I eventually figured it out.
So are you strictly with HarperCollins or are you with another pub?
I am strictly with HarperCollins for now. I'm
Oh,
not leaving HarperCollins unless they say we don't want anything else.
right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not um, on the edge of inserting something else in there.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, I understand. I understand completely.
yeah, I'm not.
Speaking.
I'm very happy with HarperCollins and my editor. I'm very happy. I would like to stay there. So we'll see.
So moving back to American Royalty, because I fell in love, I absolutely love the book. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just wondering, are they going to throw some big cash at this audiobook and really make it pop and stand out? Because you have some rap lyrics and some music references and things like that included in the story. Are we going to be able to like really visualize and hear that throughout this audiobook, or do you have any say in that?
Oh, so I don't have, because I'm traditionally published, I don't
Mhm.
have as much say into it as people may think. So for American Royalty, I was kind of on it from an early point. Like I have experience from my other books. I, knew that they were going to be, it was going to be an audio book. I knew they were going to be narrators. The last couple of times it came to me sort of, I got an email, it was like, listen to these narrators and kind of give
Mhm.
us your opinion. And that's a little late in the process because I'm essentially listening to people they've already picked.
Right.
And, so I was just like, ugh. So for this one, from the very beginning, I sort of had a vision for everything for this book. And so I was kind of on it on lots of different levels. So for the audio, I knew there was, like I said, I knew there was going to be narrators. I was hoping they would give me a male and female. I've never had that before. So like immediately, as soon as I turned the book in, I immediately started listening to different audiobook narrators. Um, and trying to like, sorry, get tissue, trying to like
Mhm.
make a list of who I wanted and who I thought would be good for the book. And so I had a list and I sent that to my editor. And she was like, it's a little early for this, but keep it in the folder. Like I was like, I'm not taking any chances.
Right.
And luckily they picked people from my list, which I was thrilled about. So
Ooh.
but see, I still didn't know where they were in the process of recording. Again, I'm not a producer. They don't really let us know.
Mhm.
What happened is a friend of mine was like, I'm pre-ordering your book on Audible. And I was like, oh, is it up? Let me go see. And then I saw the listing and I saw the narrators. And so first I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw the peep. I was like, okay, from my list. Very good. Then I went online and the narrator they picked for Danny is on Instagram. So I slid into her DMs. I was like, hey girl, hey. Hello.
Yeah.
Like I saw that you're going to be narrating my book. You're one of my top choices. I'm so thankful, they picked you, and I'm really happy. And if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I don't know what they tell the narrators, but
Right.
I'm here. If you want to get on the phone, if you want to ask me how like things are pronounced or what I was thinking, I'm a resource because I love audiobooks. I read half and I probably read like a third now and listen to most books
Mhm.
that I read. So I wanted it to be I wanted it to be right. And so then she got back to me and she was like, I actually just finished recording. So I was like, oh,
Oh, wow.
like, okay, this good, I hope it's great or whatever. And um I had said to my editor, um, I don't remember why I brought it up, but something came up about the audio, and I said, again, out of the blue, I said, I know I have these rap lyrics at the beginning of the chapters, and so
Mhm.
in my head, I know how they're supposed to go. So
Right.
I'm more than willing to like record sort of how they're supposed to go to pass on to the narrators. And she was like, yes, do that. So I did that one afternoon in my basement. I cannot write a book in
Pulled out your inner rapper.
I am not a rapper. In my head, I am a boss bitch, but when it comes to reality, yeah, no, no.
Gonna leave it to the professionals, huh?
Leave it to the professionals. It is not easy. So, but I sent it to my editor. I said, I better not hear this being played around the office. Like, don't do it. Um, And then so I had that. So when the narrator told me that she had already recorded, I said, well, she asked me about the lyrics, and she said they told me to say them, to straight say them like a poem or something. And she said, I
Mhm.
tried to inject some little rhythm, some little extra oomph in there, but they weren't having me do it as a rap. And I told her I had recorded how I heard the lyrics when I was writing them. And she was like, please send me that. And I did. And she said, okay, I'm going to re-record these and resend them. So my
That
hope,
was amazing of
wasn't
her.
it?
That is absolutely amazing of her.
It really, really was. So I hope that they get those files and incorporate it. But again, I won't know. I'm not
Right.
sort of, um, they don't come to me and ask me about this. And so I won't know probably until like a week or two before the book comes out, because they do send me the files in advance just so I have them. But, if I don't like it, I don't like it. So we will see. I really do hope so. I really do hope so. I mean, and there's some songs in Jameson's point of view that aren't
Mhm.
in Danny's point of view. And so, you know, he's probably, he probably doesn't probably didn't get that recording, which means he's probably just going to read the lyrics straight. But
Right.
what can you do? I'm not promising that I'm going to put any raps out there, but maybe after sort of hearing what the audiobook does, I'll come
Mhm.
up with something. Maybe I'll find somebody who's good and have them do it. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't want to subject the world to what I did.
So, so what inspired you to write raps and use lyrics and things like that into the story?
I knew when I was writing that I wanted to do these little teasers at the beginning of each chapter to give you the sort of to get you in the frame of mind of the POV character, and maybe to give you a little bit about what was going to happen in the chapter. And music in some ways is a big part of my life and my process. In the past, I have written certain songs into books, real then later always being told, like, we can't put those lyrics in the book. All right, that's right. But then I forget that. But so because she is a rapper, it just was like it has to be. And I really wanted to highlight female rappers, because as I was doing my research and getting more into it, I was like, the disrespect is just so within the industry is ridiculous. It makes me angry when I was researching, when I was writing it, when I'm thinking about it. And so I wanted my love for female hip hop and rap artists to come through. And so I knew I wanted to do those little things. So for Jameson, it was pretty easy. He's a philosophy professor. So I
Right.
tried to find quotes that were philosophy quotes. And if there were philosophy quotes from royals, that was even better.
Mm.
Um, Danny, though, took a little more effort. And what I did initially was, again, because I forget, is I actually found lyrics from real songs to be the chapter headings. And then because I am extra, I I did them in chronological order. So like the
Mm.
first, yeah. So obviously the first chapter was Danny's own lyrics, because that's how you're introduced to her. But then the next chapter um, was oh my God, her name just immediately left my head. Oh, MC Light. And then I went, from MC Light, and then I went to Rage, and then I went to Salt and Pepper. Like I was trying to go in chronological order too. And so I turned that in.
Mm.
I was like, yes, this is the bomb. And then of course my editor was like, we
We can't use these people's
can't
lyrics.
use these lyrics. She didn't say boo boo, we can't, but that's what I heard. She was like, we can't use these lyrics, right? And I was like, oh, I always forget that.
I love that you had a large range of female rappers. It wasn't just the ones we're hearing now, the Cardi B's and the Meg Thee Stallions.
Right.
But you went back, it sounds like.
Yes,
and
I wanted to show the evolution, right? To show where it started, where it was going. There was, and I talk about it in the book too, this idea that there can only be one, right? So we have to have one. And if there's two or three, then obviously they're pitted against each other. There has to be a feud versus 20 men at any time can be, right? It's just like, get out of here with that mess. So I wanted to sort of show the evolution. But again, she said, we can't use those unless you get permission. So I, again, being extra, went through and did the research to find out how I get permission, found out who was listed as the songwriters for the rap, for each rap, who I had to contact. And I sent out all of these emails, and I got a few back, and they were like, thank you for contacting us. Yes, if you want to use this, it's going to be, and it was a number. And I was like, I got one, like half a phrase. I'm not making a commercial. Your song is not playing on my mood. Like, what? Right. And there's like 12 or 14 of those lyrics. And so when I did that math, no.
I guess I'll make up my own, huh?
Yeah. Like, that's not happening. And then one of my friends said, well, why don't you just write Danny lyrics? And I was like, that's an amazing idea. Holy crap. Now I have to do that. And and so I took like about a week and a half, and just did it, just sort of step by step, did it. And I'm so happy that I did. I think it turned out better than if I'd used other lyrics, because you get an idea of her. You get more of her than you had otherwise. And then I still kept the songs, and that became the playlist for the book. So
I love it. 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 So if you could, well, before I get to this question, I noticed you said that you wanted to show like an evolution of sort of a social issue within this book. And I've noticed that in other books that I've read from you. Is that sort of an underlying part of you to sort of tackle a social issue within your books as well?
I don't set out to do that, I guess I should say. But my heroines are always Black women, and they are Black women who are living in the world. And they're part of me. And I just, they're just things I see and notice. And so that then becomes a part of them. So I don't set out saying, okay, in this book, I'm going to do A, B, or C. But as I think about the plot and who the character is and what they're going to be dealing with, most of the stuff is going to, it's going to be some sort of issue, because we're always dealing with stuff. Let's say, we're always dealing with stuff. Stuff is always coming up, even in, simple things, there's going to be an issue that I notice, that can be highlighted. And so, like I said, I don't set out to do it. It happens just organically because of who my characters are and who I am as a person.
Now, even though you're Black, do you still employ, or does the publishing company still employ sensitivity readers or anything like that?
No, I'm pretty sure that they don't at all. And I don't, I guess the way I sort of approach it is I want to make sure that there are diverse people in my books. And they populate my world, but they are not my POV characters. And so for that surface level, I guess, I feel okay enough that I don't need to get sensitivity readers. Now, if I put someone in my book that is of a different culture or different race other than Black or white, it's usually I know someone that's of that ethnicity or that race. And so I will definitely ask them questions and be like, and make sure that even what I have is okay. But I don't myself go deep into those cultural issues or their POV, because there are authors that can do that and can do that better. I'm not trying to be a voice for everyone. I don't even think that I should be asked to do that. Like, I'm writing this specific niche and populating my world the way my world is, and I feel like I can do that without needing sensitivity readers. If that changes, if I ever, I can't imagine it would, because I stick to sort of what I want to write. But I do think that if I ever was in a situation where I was writing a POV character that was of another ethnicity, I would definitely have a sensitivity reader, because I know the things that I may not notice that they would. And I'm assuming that, that the way I look at the world is universal, and that's not true. I think that's part of the problem when authors are writing POVs that they may not experience or know, well themselves. They assume, oh, well, I see the world this way, so surely this person would see the world this way. And that's not true.
I love that. So are all of your books interracial?
They are all interracial. Yes.
Okay. Are you ever going to write?
No. I'm sorry.
Alrighty then.
All right, let me go back. I'm sorry. Let me let you. I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's the answer. That is the answer, and that is just fine with me.
I assumed what your question was going to be. That was my bad. I apologize. Okay.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm fine.
Okay. I do not plan. No.
Okay. The only reason I ask is because that is a massive question that everyone seems to get asked. They want writers to write everything, and I understand completely. I don't go out looking for certain things from certain authors, because there's other authors that are doing that. So I just like to ask to see and get the reaction. And I loved yours. I loved it. Loved it. I'm here for it. Alrighty, now to my question that I was going to ask. If you could make one of your books or series into the big screen or into that format, which format would you want it? Would you want it as a movie, a television show, or a limited series? And I'm going to make you pick one of your babies. Which one would it be?
Up until American Royalty, every book I've written, I cast. So like I pick actors and actresses because I think about them in that way, because I am such a pop culture person. But I probably would say, even though it isn't complete, probably the Girls Trip series. And I think I would prefer like a limited series, of multi-episode sort of thing. And I would take the entire series and make the series all 4 books. And so weave all of the different characters and their romances into that series. That's what I would do. But if I had to pick one book, though, to do something with, I would probably pick Like Lovers Do. That is still...
Ooh.
Yeah.
So who would you fan cast for it? I gotta know.
See, I cast them as I write them. And so in my head, Nick, now I have to remember names. Nick, that is the actress from, she was on Bring It On, and she's on Dear White People on Netflix.
Gabrielle Union.
No. I said Bring It On. I said Bring It On. No, there was a show on VH1 that was about cheering and dancing. It was called,
Ooh.
Hit the floor, I think is what it was called, or something like that.
I will have to
But I
figure
think
that out.
most people would probably know her from Dear White People on Netflix. I think it's Logan Browning, I want to say.
Hmm. I will have to figure out who that is, and I will have a picture inserted because I'm not remembering who this is.
Yeah. I think her name is Logan Browning. So she's who I pictured for Nick, or who I cast for Nick. And then the actor, again, I cannot remember his name at the moment, but he plays, right now, he is on Station 19, Shonda's show. And his name is Jay something. He has the cute little freckles, dark hair. On the show, he's gay. Um,
Station 19.
yes.
Is it not TK? No, that's 911.
No.
Station
Yeah.
19. I am thinking,
Yeah.
thinking. Is he running for mayor right now?
Well, Station 19, I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know if he's running for mayor.
Oh, goodness.
But his name is Jay something. I mean, I could Google it real quick.
I will have to. Well, I know who you're talking about. I'm just trying to think of his character.
Yeah.
And trying to make sure that I get the right one.
Yes.
So,
those are the two people. I cast them from the beginning. Those are the two people that I would pick to do it.
I will make sure to have these pictures in here so you guys
I know
can see
you
who
will.
we're talking to.
I know.
So we can see who we're talking about because I love because the pictures in my head, I'm like trying to like picture them. I'm like, okay. So that brings us to my other question of when you're writing, are you visually seeing it or are they just words on the page for you?
I'm visually seeing it. So when I write a scene, I have to see it in my head. And that's part of the process, right? So that's like if you looked at my first draft, which no one will ever see. The scene, if the scene is setting place in an office, I'll have like, they walk into his office. And then most of the scene will be dialogue because I can hear what they need to say or what, I want them to say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not until I go back and do my revision that the scene will be fleshed out. And because that's when I'll go and do research and I'll see what, I'll go look at different offices to figure out what this particular office looks like. Once I know that, then in my head, I can figure out where are they standing? Where are they sitting? And all of that gets described in the scene. So I like to visualize it. And when you read it, it's important to me that you can see it too. So, it's not just the words on the page. When I'm talking about going to the office and describing where the desk is and where the window is and where the chairs are, it's so that you can have that picture in your mind too. So that when I say she goes to sit down and she throws her feet up on his desk, you can picture what that looks like.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so give me your perfect writing environment.
It's my office at my desk. I used to write on a laptop, and I would go back and forth from my laptop and my desktop, and partly that was so that I could cheat and work sitting like in the family room in front of the TV or wherever. But I get the best and most productive work done when I'm at my desk on my desktop. And so one of the things I did was get rid of my laptop. I have an iPad and my desktop, and that's it. I use a white noise machine and I light a scented candle, and those are the things that kind of let my brain know we're into drafting serious work. If I'm having a day where I am reluctant to write or can be coerced or persuaded not writing.
Procrastination is knocking the door.
It's one of those days, and all my husband said, "Let's go." Yes, baby, let's go do this. But I know I need to write. I'll use a timer and I'll do sprints because I say to myself, you can do anything for 20, 25 minutes. And most of the time it's because I am afraid of what the scene is that I have to write. Like maybe it's not as clear in my mind as I want it to be,
Mm.
or I know what I want it to be and I'm afraid I can't execute it. Those are the things that make me reluctant to want to sit down. And then if I use a timer and I set like 20, 25 minutes, by the time I'm like 2 or 3 sprints in, I'm in the work, and then I'm good, and I can do what I want to do. But I have to trick myself to just even sit down sometimes to do it.
So are you a snacker drinker while you're writing, or none of that?
No, I keep I keep my bottle with oh, it's supposed to be a cup. I said bottle, cup. People think I'm tipsy. I keep a of flavored water, and that's what I drink off of most of the day. I don't snack because I'm afraid that I'll get the crumbs into my keyboard or whatever. So I just tend to, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I know we've mentioned that you are a reader as well, correct?
Yes, I am.
What type of books or what's on your currently reading right now?
So okay, romance is my absolute favorite genre. Um, the problem is when I am writing, I don't like to necessarily read what I'm writing. And since all I write is romance, it becomes a problem. When I am writing or drafting, I don't I don't read contemporary at all when I'm doing that because I don't want to be influenced in any kind of way. I
Mhm.
tend to then read nonfiction when I'm drafting. When
Mm.
I'm done, like the period now where I'm in between books, I'm taking a break. That's when I'll binge read a whole bunch of stuff. So I alternate then between romance and like nonfiction books. Nonfiction books I like are political books or celebrity biographies, anything that's going to give me some juice. I'm nosy, some tea. I want to know stuff, what is going on. Those are the types of nonfiction books I love. Um, so I just finished Tina Brown's or the Palace Papers. I just finished that one. I mean, it was fine.
I haven't read it. I am not a nonfiction
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
so no worries, no
Right.
worries.
It was fine. I am squarely Team Sussex, and I am not afraid to admit that when people want to be like questioning them or negative towards them, turns me off. I don't like. I know people, and I know they're not 100% right, but I'm Team Sussex. It is. And so when
Hands
you
down.
you come for them, then I'm just like, I don't like you. Sorry. Sorry.
Well, you provided me with a fun favorite number, so let's jump into these random questions
Okay.
that I did not pick, so don't go get mad at me, okay?
Okay.
So you have $100,000. You have to donate it or create a charity. What do you do?
Ooh. So
Would you donate
either
it or
one
create a
or what?
charity?
Okay, what I would do. Ooh. Okay, so this is a hard one because my control issues are like screaming. If I donate that amount of money, are they going to do with it what I want them to do with it?
Right.
However, do I have the time to create a charity? Um, I would, okay, realistic. I'm going to have to donate it because I don't have a time to a charity. I would donate it. Yes, I would donate. Yes.
I loved watching you're watching the wheels of that decision go. It was great. It was great. Oh my goodness. I can just imagine that that's exactly how you are when you're writing your book too. That it's just like tick, 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 tick. No, 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 that's not gonna work. Pros and cons list.
Yes.
All of it. All of it.
That's about right. Yep.
Would you rather have to grow, hunt, and kill your own food, or eat only at Taco Bell for a year?
Ooh, ooh. Oh, I'm not an outdoor person. However, in this situation, I would have to grow, hunt, and do my own food. Yes.
Because we're not doing Taco Bell.
I'm
Not
not
doing
doing Taco Bell. No, no.
And then our final question. What's the worst pickup line you've ever heard or dished out?
Ooh, I've never really had pickup. I've never been picked up. Mm. Oh, I wish I. Oh, darn it! I wish I know. I know for a book I wrote.
I
I
was
had
just about to say,
come
give
up.
us one of them
I did. I
cheesy
had to
lines for a
come up
book.
with a bunch of like. I had to actually research a bunch of really bad lines. I'm trying to remember them. I mean, they're so bad. The worst. I mean, obviously, are you tired? Because you've
You've
been
been
running
running through my mind all day.
all day. Yeah. Um. Oh,
Or did you fall from what how is the one about falling from
heaven
heaven?
must be missing an angel or something.
No.
And then there's one about I can't remember, something about like pants. Like I see you in my
Oh,
pants or
and
something.
some taking off the pant. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
which
like
one you're
all of
talking about.
those, or
So
something
cringy.
between you and I, like all of those bad. just just like if you just better off just coming saying hi.
Yes, yes. Oh
Smiling.
my goodness. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you, Tracy, for spending a little time with me, chatting it up, talking about your new release, American Royalty, that is coming out. Oh my goodness, you guys need to go get it and read it. And thank you for going over your process with me, because that was just absolutely amazing. I loved every single moment of it. And I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Steph. This was so much fun. Like, we could have kept talking. If I had a drink, we probably would have kept talking. I've got enough.
Yeah,
Thank
my,
you.
my, my husband is like in the background, like, we need to do spring cleaning, so let's go. Wrap it up.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
You're
Tracy.
welcome. Thank you for having me, Steph. Bye.
Whew. Okay, guys. So that was Tracey Livesay, and I really hope you go out and read American Royalty when it releases, if it hasn't already released, but go check it out. It is so good. And I hope you got a little bit of insight and decide to check out some of her backlists. Her backlist books are absolutely amazing as well. Go check those out. I will leave her website down in the description box so you guys can go find her everywhere and check her out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form and down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. My PayPal, my Patreon, and all my other social links are down in the description box as well. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you in another video.
If you come with me tonight, I can show you things you've never seen. If you come